Possibly the most obvious offseason news has hit. Aiden Chiles, he is going to enter the transfer portal. Where did it all go wrong with suite number 2?
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, how on earth are we all doing? And well, thank you guys so much for making Locked On Spartans your first listen every single day right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one Locked On Podcast Network. Guys, please rate, review, subscribe, comment below where you think things could have gone better for the one, the only Aiden Chiles, because Stephen Brooks of 24/7 Sports, it's time to start the show with the most inevitable piece of news this offseason, and that is Aiden Chiles, 4-star quarterback, prized haul out of the transfer portal when Jonathan Smith came here. He's going back into the transfer portal. You saw the writing on the wall when Alessio Milivojevic not just got the start in that first game to start the month of November, but really just took it and ran with that opportunity. Look, we can take this 1,000 different ways. Obviously, I can make excuses for him, do some white knighting over here, which I will do, but I want to start with this. Where do you think it really all kind of just didn't go right for Aiden Chiles? Is it entirely on him? He never really had that deep ball completion percentage. Maybe the processing wasn't all there. Was it things going on outside? It just was never talented enough. Where do you kind of just put a pin in all this, Steven?
I think it's several things. To me, the biggest is just I think he lost some confidence sort of with his supporting cast. We all talk about how tough Alessio is. Well, why do we say that? Because he got the crap beat out of him. Why was he getting the crap beat out of him? Because they couldn't protect him. Aiden Chiles had to deal with that for a year and a half. And he showed a lot of toughness too, I thought, throughout that time. So I think at a certain point you get beaten down and worn down. And again, you lose faith. He was on a certain trajectory through that USC game. And then Nebraska was right around where things turned and never really
murdered in that game, man. He just got absolutely pummeled every third snap, it felt like, in that one. Yeah.
And for him and the MSU offense, never really recovered from that day. So I think there's some of that. I still think the kid has a lot of talent. If you go back to when he came over here, I'm sure I was on here talking about you guys just got a star. Everything's going to be great. I still believe in Aiden Chiles, the player. I really think, I even think if you put him, how they protected Alessio against Maryland, if you gave him, a couple games of that, everybody would think way differently about Aiden Chiles. So I think he's going to go somewhere. I think unless he goes to, the worst program in the country, I guess, I think he's going to go somewhere. I think he's going to play well. I really do. Now, when I say it's many things, maybe should he have not been anointed the second he committed to Jonathan Smith, and should there have maybe been a Anthony Russo type or somebody to just sort of keep fire at his heels early on? Was there enough, because he was anointed and because he was the savior? I do wonder, and this is strictly curiosity. This is not anything I've heard, or I'm not trying to insinuate anything like that. But I just wonder, was he always held to the highest standard, of accountability, of a development, of improvement? When John Boyer came in, I kind of thought, and again, this is nothing I've heard, but to me, it kind of looked like maybe a case where even though he knew John Boyer, it was like he wasn't here. There was a little bit of a separation where it felt like everybody here sort of, you could see how maybe they want to walk on eggshells thinking this guy is the program. We have to sort of, explicitly or implicitly sort of, bend the knee a little bit, or he just got, which all quarterbacks do. That's not an Aiden Chiles, Michigan State exclusive thing.
That's just life, right?
I do wonder if Boyer was sort of that outside voice that doesn't have to feel handcuffed to him and hey, don't ever make him feel bad. Don't ever rub him the wrong way. He might leave here, and that's our whole future here. I don't know. I've thought about some stuff like that. I don't know that, but could there be elements of that? Yeah. Could there be elements of, Jonathan Smith trying to make it happen too long and maybe not going with Alessio sooner? Yeah. But I do think the biggest thing at the end of the day is I don't, the receiver talent, yes. And Chiles had his own issues in terms of not being able to maximize those guys.
Yep.
But I think on the whole, the big picture, I just think, somebody, maybe AI can do it. Break down how many third downs he faced at Michigan State. that were like 3rd and 6 plus, 3rd and 8 plus. No
it felt like
run
10
game.
A game, didn't it? Like it just felt like you saw it nearly a dozen times every Saturday. I know.
No run game throughout the duration of his time here. This year, the pass protection fell apart. You got running backs missing blocks, tight ends, offensive line. The whole thing was a mess for a lot of it. And again, he has to own some of it too, though. I mean, I think to that Nebraska game, those 2 picks were pretty bad. Now, he did clean it up leading up to that game, but those were pretty, he had missed throws. We all see him. We all remember him. But he also made some magic happen on 3rd and 10, a decent amount as well. And he threw when he can throw, clearly not with any consistency, but he can throw like that top 1% type of ball deep down the sideline into a bucket. Now, again, it wasn't there regularly, obviously, but he has the ability to make throws that Alessio straight up cannot and probably never will, And again, you go to consistency and all that, and you got to be able to play on schedule, and people have to know what to expect out of you. But I'm just saying that the kid has some ability there, and I wish him well. He was always great with us in the media. I think he handled a situation that wasn't always easy pretty well, maybe a couple missteps, but he was a young dude trying to figure it out. I think he tried to sort of be the franchise quarterback at certain times and say the right things and be the leader of men. And I think that worked sometimes, and other times I think there are things he probably could have done better. But I always enjoyed him. I think anybody ever met him probably enjoyed him. He's a nice kid, got a very infectious, just sort of positive energy to him. So I wish him well. But that's where I think I guess, the layered reasons that things didn't work out here.
Yeah, I'm going to echo a lot of what you're saying here. And, I think this is also the majority of the fan base, too. I wish him well. I'm bummed it didn't work out here. Obviously, just like you said, just like we started the show with, there are some things that, yes, he could have done and still needs to work on before he gets to his next place. But, Steven, look, you go to Pro Football Focus. In the conference, he was the 6th most pressured quarterback in the Big Ten. The guys in front of him, well, Wisconsin's first quarterback, he leads the way. The second quarterback was Alessio Milivojevic. He was pressured on nearly 42% of his dropbacks. And then it goes Damon Williams from Washington, Wisconsin's second quarterback. They had their offensive line issues too. Nico from UCLA, and then Aiden Chiles, the 6th most pressured quarterback. And, of course, I don't even have a metric for this because there's so many to pick from. Metrically, Michigan State had the worst run game in the conference by a wide margin in a few different statistical categories. So, look, the protection, not up to snuff. The run game that really could have aided him, not all there. But I hope the best for him. Just like you said, did he have a few missteps along the way? Sure. Like the comment that he had after the Rutgers game last year where he said, I don't care about the fans. I think I'd also be a little salty, if not bitter, at my end-of-year press conference, too, after I just stepped off the field with 16 people in attendance, after I've just lost, my 5th game in the last 6 games. So, whatever. On top of all that, though, you saw great leadership. You saw his personality. And even when he had this injury, he didn't have to go to Iowa to stand on the sidelines in a boot. Like, that's not something that a lot of kids do. He couldn't have been as gracious as he was with Alessio Milivojevic taking that starting role. So, look, tough times, trying times. I think overall he was a great leader through it all. And not to sound like I'm doing a eulogy for the kid, because he's going to be doing okay for himself here. He has done okay for himself. Yeah, I'm just bummed. I wish it could have worked out a little better, but hey, there's a reason that Alessio has stuck around. Hopefully that we can protect this kid more than we have the last kid. That'd be nice, Steven. Hopefully I'm not asking too much here. Actually, I probably am asking too much, but that's all I want.
We'll see how it goes. It's been, as we know, as we've discussed, it's been a bit of an issue. So, yeah, I think Chiles, too, different system. I think just go somewhere where it's maybe a little more, and this isn't necessarily a knock on him, but just a little less structured and rigid, that maybe he can be a little more freewheeling or just a little more off script, a little more like one read and go type of stuff. Maybe that could be something that helps get his mojo back and everything. Because again, I still think there's a lot to him as a player. Somebody I think is going to get a pretty good QB for whatever their situation might be. You have to protect him, like literally any quarterback. It'd be nice if you could, expect positive yardage when you hand the ball off every now and then. That would be nice.
It would be nice.
So, a couple of those things come together, and I could absolutely I can absolutely see him having a pretty nice year next year somewhere.
More to come with Stephen Brooks, including, Michigan State's new defensive line coach. We're going to preview Tuesday night's basketball game, but first need to talk your ears off about Omaha Steaks. The holidays, that's right, they're here, and whether you're hosting family, planning a perfect gift, or you just want to keep things simple and delicious for yourself, well, Omaha Steaks is making it easier than ever. From effortless holiday entertaining to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience straight to your door. And what makes it even better? With Omaha Steaks, you know exactly what you are gifting or getting yourself, guys. USDA certified tender steaks, premium proteins, gourmet size, and decadent desserts that make everyone feel appreciated. That's right. Now, guys, you already know what you're going to get. Just like we said, tender, juicy steaks or burgers, chicken, pork, seafood. It goes further than just the steak, guys. So whether it's you in your life or someone else in your life wants to go beyond the cow, guys, Omaha Steaks is still the place to go. Save big on gourmet gifts and holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks this holiday season. Visit omahasteaks.com, and for an extra $35 off, use promo code COLLEGE at checkout. That's right, just college. Easy promo code over at omahasteaks.com. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. So let's talk about transfer portal, which obviously starts in a few weeks here, but that hasn't stopped us from kind of hypothesizing where Michigan State could be trying to make some big splashes. Yes, not too long ago, they get this mega donation. And in the wake of that, I'm saying that there's a lot of positions that need some love here. I think most of these are going to be upgrading from a bad position group to maybe just an average one. But of course, when you get that much money, you might have to have some splashes here, Stephen, that we're going to write some articles and talk about here. I wouldn't mind seeing 2 or 3, maybe even 4 on each side of the ball. One of these splashes in a position group that I'm expecting them to at least certainly try on is the linebacker position, the weak side linebacker. Maybe if you want to even bring the nickel into this conversation, I think that, well, just from attrition of what they're losing last year, basically all their nickels, and this features Ade Willie, of course, Khalil Majid, just all the heavy hitters, of course. But then Wayne Matthews, he's gone too. I think based on who they're losing, and also what I've been hearing is that they're going to try to swing for the fences here on that weak side linebacker nickel position here. Do you think, no, you could decorate it any way you want, Stephen. Any other position groups that you think they're going to try to make a big splash on as opposed to just upgrading marginally just for next year?
I think it's got to be defensive end. I mean, it has to be, right? It has to be. And even like a B minus type of player is going to cost you a lot at that position.
Correct.
So, when you say home run or whatever, splash, sell out, whatever, like phrasing, whatever, but like they have to, right? I mean, they need more talent there. They need more bodies there. I mean, the guys, So it would have to be that for me. I mean, it's hard. It's very hard. It's very competitive. But you can't keep going like this, without being able to get a lick of pass rush from your front four. There's no pressure coming from the edges. Like, they got a lot of guys, I mean, you're losing Quindarius Dunnigan, who played a good amount of snaps for you. Solid, serviceable rotation guy, probably shouldn't start on a good Big Ten team. Even Jalen Thompson, like him a lot as a kid, but on a good Big Ten team, maybe more of a second string guy. Maybe we'll see. I mean, good player, but at least on the fringe, let's call it. Yeah. Not a bona fide, he's a starter. Now let's go push him to be an all-conference guy. Where's that player? Somebody like that. Like, the last people, it was Barrow and Harmon were the last D linemen that were the closest to being that level of like difference makers, disruptors, and everything. And obviously they're not edge guys, but yeah, they have to get better at that position. They have a lot of guys that you could play within a rotation, but where's your headliner? Where's somebody that they're like, where the coach is interrupting the OC on the headset, say, no, don't run that way. Switch it, flip the formation, get a tight end in there, whatever. Like, get somebody who they're scared of and they are concerned about on the edge. Because you haven't had that for 2 years at least now.
At least, yeah.
That would be the biggest one for me. Outside of quarterback, I guess, you really can't say no to anybody. I mean, they suddenly need some running back help now too. I mean, I think maybe it's just me. We don't think about that as much. But with Frazier out, Todd Tolliver's done. You really have Tullis and Clarizio. Clarizio's a total unknown at this point, and Tullis didn't have a very good year, just being objective about it. So you need running back help too. Receiver, Nick Marsh is gone. Could you get some guys to sort of do a strength and numbers thing there, or do you need an alpha dog there? I don't know that you do in year one. It should definitely start near the ball and go out, just like the old adage in the NFL or whatever you're drafting. You're doing free agency or whatever. Start closest to the ball, work your way out, and that's true for Michigan State. So for me, it'd have to be an edge right away. It's somebody who I know is a dude who's a walk in the door starter, and I can even see all conference potential with. When you talk about break the bank, splash, home run, all that, and then I want to see a healthy two deep on the O line, and that doesn't necessarily have to. I think maybe some of your headliners could be here if you can keep a Stan Ramil, who at this point hasn't said anything. If you can keep a Connor Moore, same thing, hasn't said anything.
Yeah, right.
Luka Vincic, your headliners might be okay, but I need to see a healthier two deep across the board. Raheem Johnson hasn't said anything. Maybe all these guys go in a week. I don't know.
Right.
If you can keep all of them and plug in some serviceable depth with it too, I'd feel better about it. Yeah, I'd love to see, if you're Michigan State, $3 million tackle, three $1 million tackles walking through the door or something, just to feel good, just to rest your head at night, But being semi-realistic about it, I mean, just patching up the two deep with some quality players who've played and hopefully started some Power 4 games, even just D1 games. If you're a heck of a player at Liberty or something or whatever, sure. But that's where I'm looking at.
And just like you said, it is going to be tough to land an edge. And we've had this conversation just amongst myself or other fine guests like yourself that transfer portal ain't what it was 3 years ago, right? Teams are getting a lot better at keeping their top talent. And, well, what's one of the biggest position of needs for all 130 whatever FBS teams out there? It's a good edge rush, right? So look, MSU is going to have to really advertise themselves well, then overspend their balls off, and then we'll see if we can get a guy to come here. And just like you said, even a B- guy, that's a great addition in the transfer portal in this day and age, especially if you're a program, let's be honest, like Michigan State, team that necessarily hasn't had guys go to the NFL lately, or you're not really playing in college football playoff games. So, yeah, it's going to be a big ask, but it's also just an absolute necessity for this team, for any team, but especially this team that hasn't had a pass rush in how many years? So.
To that point, you're seeing more, I think. You're not seeing as many of, like you said, teams are retaining better, rev shares kicking in, there's all that. So now it's about who can ID, who's going to go pick that guy from Grand Valley or Ferris or the FCS D2 levels that have the measurables that for whatever reason, it's those guys that I think are going to be the big the big movers and shakers of the portal cycle increasingly, because you're not going to see prime Myles Garrett, leaving Texas A&M for 1 year type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's going to happen very much. You're seeing some quarterbacks, Raiola, Sam Levitt, I think that might always be there, but you're not going to see, I don't think, that cream of the crop defensive line talent moving in abundance. It'll be a few, and they'll be for very big money, zipped up deals that are already done before you ever heard anything about it, that type of stuff. But it's going to be more about, I think that's where you're going to see opportunity, and that's where the good scouting folks are going to be rewarded. It's like, we got this guy from Prairie View A&M, he's a real dude. He's 6'6", 250, and no one knows about him. We're going to get him, that type of stuff. That's where I think things will shift a little bit more in terms of how you really get better. And when we look back, we'll say, that was a ground-shaking move, even if a guy from Valdosta State or whatever at the time didn't seem like it.
Rod Bullard, that's right. Shout out one time. The World Cup, that's right. It is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994, and with 48 teams for the first time ever. This is going to be a massive tournament, guys. And let's be honest, getting tickets might be the hardest part of these games, especially these early round games. That's why the Game Time app, it's clutch, guys. Giving fans the real advantage when it comes to snagging tickets. Or let's say that you want to go to this basketball game Saturday, Little Caesars Arena. Go ahead, grab the tickets over at Game Time, because this isn't one of the apps. Okay, well, great, $50 tickets, and then it takes you 16 taps to get to the finish line, and by the time you do it, they're all of a sudden $85 tickets with all these mystery fees. No, Game Time, it's a straight upfront price. It's 2 taps, and bam, the tickets are sent straight to your phone. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets, guys. Every match, every concert, every event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Look, let's talk about another staff addition here really quick. And no, it's not an offensive coordinator. I'm sure they'll hire one by kickoff next year, perhaps. Stay tuned. We'll see. But what we do know is that Winston, here I go with the last name, Steven. This one's got like 15 syllables in it. All right,
come on,
let's go. Come on, everyone. On your feet. Let's go. Winston Dilatibod. Now, I got to shout out your colleague, Justin Thin, for putting the pronunciation of his last name in his story at 24/7 Sports. So, Winston Dilatibod. I was Winnie D.
B minus attempt, I'd say. I got a 6 on the card. I'm holding up here.
Oh, okay. I would have given myself a 4.5, but thank you, Steven. Wow, it's always a nice guest. Appreciate you, man. Anyway, this guy's coming over, defensive line coach from the Arizona Cardinals. Now, before that, he was on Minnesota's staff. Was anyone else on Minnesota's defensive staff not too long ago? Of course, I'm talking about Joe Rossi. But look, when Winnie D was on Joe Rossi's staff, they improved their sack numbers each year. In tackles for loss in 2022, before he took over, they were dead last in the conference. Slight improvement the next year, and then they were in the upper half of the Big Ten in 2024. And speaking of 2024, overall as a defense, Minnesota top 15 in scoring defense, top 15 in total defense, and also rushing defense as far as yards per game go. He is a former Minnesota Gopher player, played 51 games, 36 starts, and he won the Tony Dungy Award for Character and Community Service, as well as Big Ten Sportsmanship Award. Seems like a lot of former players really seem to like this guy. You go online, a lot of Minnesota fans, they're not like pitchfork angry, but they're bummed to see him go to Michigan State and not back home to Minnesota. So I don't know if you have anything to add on top of that. It's going to be a wait-and-see thing for this position. But, yes, certainly seems like Rossi got his guy, so to speak, at a position group that needs a lot of help, Steven. Needs a lot of help.
It does. It does. So in this job, I've transitioned from being I'm not that much older than the players to now it's geez, I'm older than a coach.
It's devastating. It sucks.
That's very weird. 27 years old, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. When you talk about recruiting, he is going to be pretty close in age to those guys. He's going to have very similar experiences and everything. The guy started his coaching career during COVID. No previous coaching experience before COVID. If you think about those in your brain and timeline that out, super fast riser though, right? To be an NFL position coach, he's not the assistant to the assistant. He was the position coach, as far as I'm aware. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't think so. He was. I think you're right. Yeah. So they sort of they have an assistant to that assistant. Maybe that guy hasn't. There's tiers to it. He was the top guy for the D line at an NFL team, which probably guys in his room were older than him. So there's that whole deal. So to reach that level that quickly though, before that when he was at Minnesota, he added the assistant head coach title, which is interesting. I guess is the way to put it.
It's an impressive resume for a position coach, I got to say. Not to get over our skis and too excited, because I've hyped up position coaches before, and it has gone completely horrible, like our last two offensive line coaches. So I'm a little gun shy of screaming from the mountaintops, this is an awesome coach, but golly, doesn't it seem like this guy's checking a lot of boxes here?
So in your defense, I'm sure I did some of that too. With those O-line coaches and everything, you could at least say, hey, they did. Look at these guys. Here's this list of guys that this happened. Yeah. This guy doesn't really have a list of guys necessarily, but his promotions, football people seem to like him. The people that are around him and that know the game clearly seem to think he has a lot to him, because he's getting promoted or getting a new job every single year, basically through his 6 years. So that's basically all we can go on. The Cardinals aren't good this year. So, there's that, I guess. Minnesota's just kind of been okay, kind of since 2021 or whatever it was. But again, if you're getting promoted every year, and why PJ Fleck has no reason to make you an assistant head coach at 25 or whatever, right? His job's not under fire. Maybe he was going to lose him somewhere, I guess, throw him a title, throw him a little more money. But, that just it doesn't seem like something you would do lightly, especially as a D-line coach, So I don't see any reason why he would just throw that around willy-nilly unless there was some reason, like I said, to keep him, or just a major show of respect that he just needed that extra sort of title and authority or something within their building. I don't know. But you look at it, there's a clear there's not even a curve. It's a straight vertical line in terms of his career arc. And if Joe Rossi knows him and feels that same way about him and wanted to make that move there when they probably could have had quite a few other options that were intriguing. I mean, between Joe Rossi and Pat Fitzgerald, they got to know a lot of D-line coaches, right?
You would hope. Yeah, you would hope.
And he is the guy that they ended up with. And, so, the guy that they just fired from Minnesota, I think they were looking at, or left there or whatever he was doing, the D-line, the former Minnesota D-line coach. I just think you look at it, and the football people he's around continue to hire him and promote him. And so they know more about ball than me. And, I'm not afraid to say that.
So, look, let's go from one ball to another. Let's go courtside because, Stephen, we got to end with previewing the granddaddy of them all on the basketball court. That's right. It is Michigan State.
The one everyone's been waiting for.
I mean, it's tough to even get a ticket to this game, man. Michigan State against Toledo. This game's going into overtime now that we just started talking like this. Like, we are jinxing this game into oblivion right now. Anyway. Yeah. I'll give you the quick skinny on Toledo right now. They are 5-5, and Michigan State will actually be the first Power 5 conference team they have played. Toledo's schedule, not too great. They have wins over Wright State. They beat Detroit Mercy, a team Michigan State beat by about 80 points. The Rockets beat them by 7 points. They also beat Youngstown State, Troy, and Central State with losses to South Alabama, Marshall, Belmont, Oakland, and Robert Morris. BartTorvik.com expects a 86-62 victory for your Michigan State Spartans. And look, Stephen, I'll ask you in a little bit, what's one thing you're going to look for? Maybe not just against Toledo, but in these next 3 games against Toledo, Oakland, Cornell, before Big Ten play starts up again. But the one thing I want to see is something Tom Izzo wants to see, and that is finishing at the rim better. They have gone below 50% at finishing at the rim against Penn State and Duke. And just in the nick of time, here comes Toledo, who is 350th in the nation at 2-point field goal defense. They are 25th worst in the whole country in effective field goal defense in general. They got one guy that plays that's over 6'8". My God, if you can't finish at the rim over 50% against these guys, Tom Izzo might be breaking out just like the whip at practice. Like, it could get messy here in the next few days of practice if you can't right your wrongs against this Rocket team. So, Stephen, line item number 1 for you against the Rockets. What do you have to see other than just a easy, clean Michigan State victory here? Yeah,
well, I couldn't believe that when I was looking it up too, that this is the first power game they've played.
It's impressive.
$400 million or something. I assume that their budget, they would need to go play like a Tennessee or somebody, a couple of times.
Right. Go be a sacrificial lamb somewhere and make $90,000. Like, I mean, why wait until December 16th to do this? Come on.
Hey, respect to the Rockets, mate. Their financials must just be in better shape than I expect.
I suppose.
Yeah. So anyway, when you look at the next 3, like, it's to me, it's all about getting the vibes right at the 2-guard spot. The vibes were nice on the weekend. Devine has his game and saves them out of Penn State and everything. But, you really don't want – and, of course, it'll probably be the weakness, I guess, on this. It's not just going to magically not become a thing by the end of the year, right?
Right, I agree.
It'll always be a thing you have to watch every game, but can you feel better about it? Can everybody involved feel better about it? On the inside and the outside, could you at least sort of have a pencil outline, of here's how it should look and here's who it's going to be, and so I don't know that it's Devine. I mean, maybe it is. If he has 3 more games that look something similar to that, then maybe it is him. Maybe Jordan Scott gets his turn. It's been pretty clear to me, just being able to speak Izzoese, that he does not want. He wants Jordan Scott to be the last option that he turns to there, just as the young guy, because once you kind of go with him, it's hard to go off of him, just because he's young, because of the effect on the other guys and the trickle down and everything. So, and that's just who he is. He wants to make them earn it. He doesn't want it to be easy on a freshman or anything. He wants to give the older guys their shot, and the guys that they brought into the portal and everything. So, just that, it's really just that, because I think when you look at this team, it's like, what from everything that we've seen so far, what could prevent them from really being Big Ten contenders? It would, to me, it's that spot. I mean, other than something injury-wise, something you can't foresee, obviously, but it's that spot. And what are they going to get out of it night in and night out? We've seen in a vacuum, they'll be fine, but over 18 more Big Ten games, 3 games in a week, 2 road games, hard home game, when you get really into the muck, what's that position going to give you? And I think we have seen at times when they've gotten slowed down and it's not as easy in transition and whatnot, that that has not been great. So I think that's the thing. Like we always talk about, what do you want to see like in the football opener against Western Michigan? Like run the ball down their throats relentlessly, right? Like 250 yards rushing. That same thing applies here. Like I want to see the shooting guards have a really good 3-game stretch, or at least one of them. Asking for all of them obviously is probably unrealistic based on what we've seen, but at least one of them should. I mean, this is the window, right? Because you don't want to keep doing this musical chairs thing going into the teeth of Big Ten play. Maybe you can a couple more games. I mean, you go to Nebraska looks pretty good though.
They do.
You guys would have seen, Northwestern comes here first week of January. You really don't want to be doing that. I guess I thought maybe there was a bit more softer start into it, but you really don't want to be doing that. So,
right.
And I have concerns too. I mean, as great as Divine played, I don't know if that's worth the trade-off of more Denim Wojcik point guard minutes and less Divine backup point guard minutes, and then more Jeremy Fears minutes, maybe than he's equipped to handle at a certain point. So that's where it gets dicey, where you'd much rather just see a Fort, a Kerr, or a Scott take control of this thing, or at least put in motion themselves taking control of it through this next stretch.
You took the words out of my mouth from yesterday's show when talking about what was kind of concerning, hey, sick that Divine scored 50-11 points. That's awesome. We need him to be the backup ball handler though, because there's 3 guys on this roster that can handle a ball, and if you're burning up 2 of them to start the game, well, when they need a break, that third guy's Denim Wojcik, and no disrespect, that can't be the answer here at the under 16 timeout in Big Ten play. Again, this isn't to say he sucks or anything. He came in here as a guy averaging 2 points at Harvard. He shouldn't be in this situation, but the shortcomings at the 2 position have led to this becoming a storyline now. So if you guys can just tidy all this up and start playing better there, it's just so Divine can actually just be the backup point guard, that'd be nice.
I think Wojcik's fine for Fears picked up his second foul with 1:43 left in the half.
Yeah, keep your head above water. Right.
Yeah, I think that's perfect for him, as a third point guard. I mean, that you really not going to have a lot to you, schedule a lot of scheduled work, I guess it's called. In a pinch, 1:43 to go, and just gets to halftime, for sure. He can definitely handle that, or whatever it might be. Get us to the next media timeout, something like that, whatever. But the 10 to 12 to 14 minutes, on the ball as the true number 2 behind Jeremy, probably can't work out there. So that's another wrinkle in all this.
When we're coming out of the first time out and I'm seeing Denim bring the ball up the court, I'm thinking, oh my God, Jeremy looks different. Oh, whoa, hold on. This can't be what my eyes are actually seeing right now. But unfortunately, it is, because that has to be the situation so long as Divine is your starting 2, which I'm glad that, hey, great game. Thanks a lot for all the memories that you gave us, Divine. That was awesome on Saturday. Would love to see him in the 2 in some capacity, but oh boy, not sure if we need 7-8 Denim minutes a night. Anyway, guys, that's Stephen Brooks over at 24/7 Sports, doing fantastic work. Probably the absolute greatest friend of the podcast. I can't even imagine anyone is a close second place to you. So thanks again for, letting us drag you on here, Steven. I love talking to you. I know the people love listening to you. So thanks a ton, my man. And guys, we also love when you tune in, all the viewers, all the listeners. Thank you all so much. We will be back tomorrow. We're going to recap the Toledo game. Of course, probably talk a little bit of football. We got the one, the only Anthony Ayani joining tomorrow's show to recap the game. But guys, until then, take care of yourselves. Love you all.